Friends, hello, how are you doing? It's one of those weeks where it's just really easy to make money in the market, but we know these weeks don't last forever. So let's talk about Big Bear. Let's talk about Palantir. Stay on track here. I'm going to try my best, and I'm just glad everyone is doing well this week from what I'm hearing. Now, it's been an up and down week here for some stocks. You know, SoFi had a great week. Tempest's been a little up and down. Tesla, big week, going back down. A lot of fire here, there, good fire, bad fires, but let's kind of get into what we can expect this coming week, next Monday here. And obviously we've got a holiday thrown in there. So first, I do want to throw caution to the wind here, because I do want to say this, the S&P broke records today. Just going crazy, going ballistic. Just crazy right now. But I do want to throw caution here, because, what do we know as investors? We know when things are crazy high, crazy running, there's a lot of money sitting on the table, and people are big money's not going to be naive to this. They're going to take profit. They're going to reset some stuff here, and that's more than likely what could happen here, but we're going to see what's happening. Do what you want to do, but I am warning you, there are some things right now in the market that are insanely high compared to what they've been. One thing here, Trump tariffs, they are starting back up here on July 9th. That is around the corner here. So if we do not get a huge landslide of a sell-off here somewhere, I wouldn't even say huge landslide, but just a normal organic sell-off here, which I think a lot of us at this point are kind of like, that might be a little nice here, because a lot of people have taken profit here and we want to throw some money back in the market, or you want to load up in more position. So July 9th essentially is like, are these other countries going to pay up? What are they going to do? And some of the tariffs have already been sealed up, but there are more countries that have been put on deadlines to see what's going to happen here. So if they don't, and more tariff kind of drama starts up here, we'll see what the market does here. But I don't know. I don't even know that the market really cares anymore. I think back in February this was a huge deal, and now the market's kind of like, whatever. Some of the tariffs have already been signed in. Some of them are there, that they've been working, but there's a lot that are still to come. So this could trigger maybe a sell-off in the market. Who knows? It's an unknown right now, because the tariff stuff is something we've never really dealt with this crazy in the market before. So I think everyone's just like, we're watching what's happening here. So let's go right into Palantir. Okay. Now, obviously, Palantir, Palantir has been still getting deals. And here's the thing, what's so great about what's happening with Palantir is that Palantir, like I said, Palantir received another defense contract, I think a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, some time ago at this point. It went under the radar. People didn't even notice it, because so much more has been happening too with Palantir, being wrapped up in this whole NATO deal, this whole, Trump came out and said, hey, we're going to use Palantir for the government resources in general. They're going to be working with us. We don't even know what that fully looks like. Now Palantir Technologies team up with nuclear power plant to build, the nuclear company, artificial intelligence. So now this is kind of happening, and this is something that Trump even talked about his first term about, making more power plants, especially NATO. Europe needs to make more power plants. So now Palantir's wrapped up in this. This is obviously money. So this is where more of the rhetoric comes, and the confirmation, if you will, that Palantir is headed towards $1 trillion market cap. Palantir is, it's one of these things right now where, this is a moment in time where we're not going to be here much longer. We're not going to have Palantir, reporting under $1 billion quarterlies. We're going to be in this future moment here where Palantir is releasing, 1.5 billion, 2 billion quarterlies here. Now, we'll see when we get there. It might be sooner than we think at this point, and for some reason, I don't know why, there's still people betting that Palantir is going to sell back off to $50. They're out there. Trust me. I see the comments. I get it. Just as many people want to hear good things about Palantir and write comments, there's plenty more that show up and tell me that I'm crazy and all that, and I get it, man, I get it. But listen, sometimes the juice is just, sometimes the lemon's got a lot of juice in it to squeeze, and we're still squeezing Palantir here for everything we got here, and it keeps getting filled back up. So it will be bought up, and that is the main theme of Palantir right now. We've had a huge sell-off today in Palantir, and this was nothing but profit taking. This was at the end of the week, people took profit on Palantir because they know what's coming. We've got 38 days as of today, June 27th here, until Palantir releases Q2 earnings, August 4th. That is right around the corner. So here's probably more than likely what's going to happen here. Palantir is sold off here to this low 130s. This is still crazy high compared to what we even had a month, 2 months ago. I mean, this is insane. Palantir is at this point in time where we're going to 150. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. New low, maybe the new low is just 130. Maybe high 20s. We might touch high 20s. We'll see what the drama is next week in the market. You know, if there is any. But it will be bought up. The shares that are sold will be bought up. That is a guaranteed mathematical fact. You take it to the bank. I'll buy them up, okay? We're going to buy them up. You're going to buy them up. I'm going to buy them up. Big stock, big money is going to buy them up. Wall Street's going to buy them up because they know that this is too good to be true at this point. Palantir is getting all these deals. The revenue is increasing dramatically. It's stupid. They're wrapped up in all this stuff right now. This is a worldwide company at this point, okay? They're a money printing machine, okay? So what do we know? And I know a lot of this is old conversation I've said, but it cannot be said enough because it is what is going on right now in the market. Right now, AI is a hot topic. It's a hot ticket. Everybody wants to be a part of it in defense. Trump is spending God amounts of money on defense, and it's going to continue here. This whole Golden Dome situation, whenever they get this started, it's kind of went quiet here a little bit. There's not a whole lot about it that's come out as of late, but as far as we know, it's still taking place. I would probably be willing to bet that they're drawing up plans and everything, how they're going to do it. As far as we know, Trump's going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to spend the money on this. I would imagine Palantir will have a place with this situation, and not be out of it. So Palantir, and this is the thing where I do think that Palantir more than likely will. I think it has high chance by the end of this year, 2025, to be at $180 to $200. I think we will probably be somewhere in that pocket. Now, will Palantir be producing billion-dollar quarterlies here by Q1 of 2026? I think that's probably pretty likely. I think we've already seen Palantir be in this situation of high revenue, but I do think there's going to come a leapfrog moment here. Now, whether that's Q2, Q3, Q4 of this year, I don't know, but I think there's a lot of compounding of existing deals to new deals to new deals to new deals. I think there's going to come a leapfrog moment here with Palantir, and we see this all the time with companies that just really start to pick up business. But Palantir here has, I think it's somewhat in that zone right now where we're about to be like, oh my God, like, they just beat quarterlies by 50-60%. Like we're 50 million shy of a billion, or we're 20 million shy of a billion, or maybe we've just beat a billion. I think that's coming here sooner than we think with Palantir before the end of the year, and it's really gonna be like throwing more chum into the water of sharks that are in the investors. So Palantir's special. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It is a special moment. If you're not buying Palantir, I don't know why you're not. That's the thing that I think most investors are saying at this point. We really don't understand why you're not buying Palantir. From the evidence that is before us right now, there's no reason that Palantir should sell off, okay? We know that this quarterly is going to at least beat expectations really good because there's been so many more deals that have happened since Q1 of 2025. So I think it's more or less of everyone's wanting to know how much more business and how much thicker is the relationship going to get here with the United States government and Palantir, not to mention just them as a company. How much more broad are they going to get out there in all these other business opportunities, and what is going to be their next huge stream of revenue. You know, could we be talking 5 years from now, Palantir is in this, like, I don't want to say Nvidia situation, but I would say somewhat of like, has their technology, what they do now, advanced so much to where there's so many companies, places that want their business? Could we see revenue just go to unbelievable numbers to where we're seeing 4, 5, $10 billion quarterlies? Listen, we're talking 5 years from now, okay? Look at what's happened in the last 2 years, okay? 2 years ago, this was a $10 stock, and there was people going, it'll never be $20. I was there, like people were commenting that to me 2 years ago. They were like, don't buy this garbage. This is the stupidest thing you've ever put your money into. Don't listen to this person. But it wasn't just me saying, Palantir was going to these numbers. We were watching what was happening with Palantir. It was pretty obvious that stuff was going to get out of control here. Now, even 2 years ago, I could have never imagined that Palantir would be a part of what's going on right now. So, friends, why the reason I'm not really focusing on this candlestick chart, like, well, I think it's going to go back to 145, and could slide up to 150. It's going to 150. It's going to 150. It's going to 160. It's going to keep moving. That is the whole story. That is the whole situation. It is so wrapped up in what the zeitgeist of the market is right now with AI, defense, the administration that is at hand, that is spending the money out of control in defense. It is wrapped up in it, and that is good for you as an investor. That is the whole shebang of what I can say right now with Palantir. It is a unbelievable situation. It's almost unbelievable that you are allowed to put your money in Palantir because it's so wrapped up in what's going on right now. It's almost like a no-fail situation. That's really what I'm looking at with it. I mean, the painting is on the wall. It is so cut and clear what is going on right now with Palantir. I don't get why people are still betting against it. It's sometimes things are just easy to see in the market. They really are. Friends, talking about Big Bear, what a freaking mama jama week we have had here in Big Bear. I mean, if you didn't make money in Big Bear, I think you're still going to do well. You're going to have your moment here. I know a lot of people are still stuck in February numbers when Big Bear ran to $5, $7, $10 and still caught up somewhere in there. But, I think your day's going to come here. If you're not buying yourself down from your position, this is probably the time to start. But the situation that we're watching right now, okay, where will Big Bear land here? And is Big Bear gonna land somewhere under this $5 situation? Next week, like I said, this was a hot week in the market. This was a hot week. I mean, things were rolling this week. And defense stocks were rolling, AI stocks were rolling. Big Bear was in the midst of both of those, so it was just like, it was a flame, just a nonstop flame all week. We've had 1, 2, 3 push-ups here. Now we've had 4 and 5. 4 being, $5. Now this fifth staircase that has been built into Big Bear here is obviously looking for $6. I mean, we've just been pennies short of $6 here with Big Bear. But the question is, obviously we're going to hit $6 here sooner than we think. The thing right now with, I think even pre-market, it hit $6, like it just went bloop and then fell back down. But right here, right now with Big Bear, we'll see what next week brings. I am not telling you where to buy Big Bear, okay? Big Bear is in very, very good position, but it's also in a little bit of I would be very careful petting Big Bear right now because it might bite you. It might bite you. And here's what I mean by that. This is new level for Big Bear. This was such a good organic little push that we have with Big Bear. Big, but still very much, little compared to what February brought here when it ran to $10. This is a more of a realistic organic push that we just had with Big Bear. This is fantastic. So to me, I'm looking for Big Bear to have more of a, and this lasted. This was a 5-day run here. This pretty much started last Friday when Big Bear went to, $4, and that was very telling. Like, okay, $4 is the new zone here. This is where we've just landed. And then from Monday of this week all the way till now, we've played around in this $5 position, looking for 6, didn't make it during market hours. Big Bear now, we're going to see where it lands, okay? Now, I personally, selfishly, I think from reading everyone's comments, I think a lot of us are hoping that Big Bear sells back down organically. He has a nice, just healthy trickle back down to, around 480, 450. That would be phenomenal, okay? Because I know a lot of people are wanting to load back up. I think it's proof at this point that Big Bear is still very much alive. It's still very much in this realm of, this is very much a real situation that could get very expensive going into the future. So Big Bear is looking for a $5 to $6 holding position. I tend to think that we're going to see it struggle to hold a high $5, $6 position as of right now. Listen, here's the clean-cut situation, the mean situation of what I have to say about Big Bear. Before I say the mean stuff, if you don't know, I want you to know before I say what I'm going to say, because I always want to bring a double-edged sword to this conversation. I am very much for Big Bear. I have been preaching Big Bear since last year that this is something we need to pay attention to as investors because of what is going on in the market. Now, I could have never dreamed, like I've said before, where we were going to be in the market right now, where defense and AI have met and made this huge, big, beautiful sandwich for investors where it's just kind of easy to see where the money's trickling in right now. Big Bear's in that moment. It's in this moment. The two biggest things with Big Bear right now with its contracts are defense and the airport big deals that are happening, and they're continuing to happen. Right now, I think, obviously, this is a brand new chart that we're looking at with Big Bear. It took a huge amount of time to get to this $3.50 range to high $4 range, and now we're in this almost $6 range. Next week will be very telling of where Big Bear is going to run or fall to. But like I said, if Big Bear can hold this 420 to 530 range, that's phenomenal. That's great, man. That's a huge playground to play around in. Trading back and forth, buying, selling, trading. Look at the staircase number 3 to staircase number 4 there. That is over a month of time. That is a lot of swing trading in there. That is a lot of money that a lot of people made, okay? So if we can start to see a swing back down to that 4th staircase, which was right around, $4.90, low $5 range, that's a beautiful place to swing, to be here for a moment to really build more position into Big Bear. But like I said, bringing that double-edged sword, going back to that conversation, the negative with Big Bear, I've always addressed it. There's debt. They need to meet they need to meet revenue. They have not met revenue. Now, Q1 that came out here, it was very close. I mean, it was less than $2 million that they missed it by. I mean, it was barely that. Phenomenal. So we're already seeing that revenue is increasing this year. Stuff is changing. This is a company that there's more good news in the last 8 months than there has been in the last 8 years. I've said that time and time again. I don't care about the last 8 years of Big Bear. I care about the last 8 months. That's where I'm at. We can see there's plenty of companies throughout history that have just changed their business motto, have changed revenue, have changed completely in the drop of a bucket in a small amount of time. Okay? Big Bear's shifting in that range. 100%. So I'm very curious to see what is going to transpire for Big Bear next week in following into this new, essentially this new map that we're in right now. I am curious, are the threes gone? Is $3 gone? And this is why I said at the beginning here that, with this tariff news that's coming back up, I'm kind of curious to see how the market is going to react to this. I don't even know that the market is really going to care too much, to be honest. I think, I don't know. I mean, the selfish part of me, the crazy part of me as an investor that I think a lot of us are saying right now is that, could you imagine if the market, imagine if the S&P 500 sold off, back to even 5,800. Imagine, the dip that we could buy in right there and then, watch the market shoot back up again over time. I mean, my God, oh Jesus. This is why I told people, like, I even told friends and family, I was like, listen, I don't care what your politics are, but you have got to get in this market right now. And even, back in February when we saw the huge dip with the tariff situation in the market, I was begging people that I know personally, like, dude, you have got to be a part of this. Like, you would not believe how many people I know in my personal life that are like, I want to invest in the stock market, but, I don't know, I don't trust it. Then, there's all this uncertainty. These people have been saying this to me for years now. I'm like, dude, you got to pull the trigger eventually. This is a hot market. It is hot. Now, obviously, we're going to have bumpy roads here along the way as, we're watching a lot of these stocks make their own Roman road. Palantir is making its own road where it wants to go. All the AI stocks are just doing unbelievable things. Big Bear, it's growing up before us. We're watching it mature into a youthful, nice little stock right now that, who knows what this little thing could be at by, December. Could we end the year at $10 or more with Big Bear? They need more deals. They need to meet expectation. They need to pay off debt. They need to be a part of what's going on. And obviously, I've said this time and time again, but just before I go here, I think that Big Bear will be a part of what's going on with this administration more. I think that they already are, but I think it will get thicker here. I think that they will be a part of what's going on here more. Will they be a part of the Golden Dome deal that's happening with Canada, with us? I don't know, but I'm hopeful. Obviously the Golden Dome, it's a very narrow thing to say that, but it's a very broad deal in that aspect too. There's a lot that's going to go into it. Friends, I wish all of you the best of luck. I really do mean that. What a week in the market. And two, for everyone that's been gifting me money because they had a good week in the market, I cannot thank you enough. That is so kind of you. Whether you give me $50, $100, $5, I cannot thank you enough. That's so sweet of you guys. I really do appreciate that. And I thank you so much, friends. I'm so happy when I see people do well in the market. Listen, I've said this time and time again. I guess I should make t-shirts. If you are in the stock market, you have found something that not a lot of people know about and don't think they can do. This is how regular people, whether you make $30,000, $40,000, $60,000, $100,000 a year, you can change your future very fast. Things can really start to add up here. What an amazing time to be an investor. What an amazing time, golden opportunity of a moment to invest in what is going on in technology and in the world right now. And just have the courage to be a part of what's going on in this market. It's amazing opportunities before us right now. Friends, I wish you all the best of luck. I will be back yapping tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Bye, everyone.